Hi, I'm Professor William Corder. I'm the chair of Economics and Geography at Santa Ana College. I'm a geographer by training, and that's what I teach, geography. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about geography of the environment and what you can do with a geography degree. When somebody says geography to you, what do you think of? I think most people think of maps, right? Well, the thing with maps is that while maps are important in geography, they're a tool in geography. It's like going into your tool chest and pulling out a wrench. The wrench isn't you, and the wrench is not your refrigerator, but you're going to use the wrench to fix your refrigerator. In geography, we use maps in a similar way. They're a tool for us. Like this, for example, is a map of the counties in California. Can you find yours? This is the highway system in California. You can see the 5, the 15, the 40, the very famous 395. This is California topography. In other words, the landscape of California. And this is the hydrology. In other words, the water, the running water especially. Can you tell the difference between the first two maps, which were the counties and the highway system, and the second two, which are the topography and the hydrology? Well, let's see what they're about. Geography is both human characteristics and physical characteristics on the landscape. And in fact, what we look at primarily is or are the spatial aspects of the landscape. Spatial means across the surface of the planet. Why is something where it is? How did it get there? Where and why are critical components of geography. So people and culture, I assume you're a person if you're listening to this. You probably at least have some interest in people and culture. Why certain people dress the way they do, what they eat, what they believe, what their cities look like. Urban development and urbanization, this is quintessentially geography. Urban planning, a geography thing if ever there was one. Whether you're looking at an old city or newer cities. Why do some cities have a square or a plaza or a piazza or a namaste? Why do they do that? And others don't. We also look at ancient human settlements, since of course, in the past, when people located cities, there were really specific reasons for why they put those cities where they put them. Expressions of belief. Those have to do with geography, because belief isn't the same every place you go on this planet. Those people on the right-hand side, by the way, although that picture was taken in Amritsar, India, they're from Chicago. Agriculture. I don't know if there's anything that is more geographical than agriculture. It has to do with climate. It has to do with weather. It has to do with the soil. It has to do with the water of the area. It has to do with the crops people choose to grow and produce. And then, of course, what they eat as well. See all three of those pictures on the top? That's my backyard. I love agriculture, one of my favorite things. But of course we know agriculture is just not what you see on the top. Agriculture is that thing on the bottom too. And we're at this interesting place in human history where there's a competition between somewhat traditional types of agriculture and massive agribusiness industrial agriculture. Things like ConAgra, Cisco, and US Foods. Do you eat like this? Or do you eat like this? That's related to geography. It's related to agriculture. Now, you might say that, well, there's a McDonald's on the left-hand side in India, and they have specialized their food for vegetarians with the spinach and corn burger. I had the spinach and corn burger, and I can tell you basically it tastes like fried. It's hard to even tell it's not just a fried piece of meat. And what happens when things like McDonald's or other massive corporations like that spread food and teach people to eat in a certain way run up against traditional ways of eating? Which thing wins in the long run? Weather and climate, quintessentially geographical. Have you ever looked at clouds and wondered how they form? I love looking at clouds. Ever since I was a kid, I look at them and think about them. And of course, out of a cloud like that, you may very well get gorgeous hailstones like you could see right there in my left hand. Then what's going on over there on the right-hand side? Is that wood pylon growing hair? No, that's frost. That's a meteorological event. We have a unique atmosphere on this planet. This is the only planet in our solar system that has what we have. And of course, we live on a great planet. This isn't Venus or Mars. Those are terrible planets. We live on the best one. Do you think about sunrise and sunset? You've probably gone with your significant other down to the beach to watch the sunset. Do you wonder why the sky changes from mostly bright blue to all of these oranges and yellows and reds? That's geography. Do you wonder why the leaves change colors in the fall? Email me, I'll tell you why. It has to do with geography. Geomorphology. There's the Great Teton Range in Wyoming. How did those mountains get there? Geomorphology means the study of the Earth's landforms. Tectonic activity like plate tectonics, earthquakes, mountains, volcanoes, all of that stuff related to geography. Landscape analysis. Do you wonder why there's a strip of dense forested area in the middle of this photograph, but in the foreground, the background, it's all sagebrush? Looks like the same landscape, but it's not. That's geography. Take a look at this. There's not only a beautiful alluvial fan and an excellent example of how slope impacts running water, but there's glacial landforms in this picture as well. Why is that lake that color green? Moss? No, it's because of pulverized rock from glacial runoff. Take a look at that other rock on the right-hand side. There's a place in Death Valley right off the side of the road. It's called Mushroom Rock. Looks very similar to that. That's from Bolivia, but it looks very similar to that. I was standing there with my family and a couple other guys who pulled up, and we were talking about Mushroom Rock. Somebody pulled up in a car, rolled down their window, took a photograph, and drove away. And the guy looked at me and said, "Some people live their whole lives like that." Don't be that person. Geography is the place for you. When I'm in a plane, I'm always looking down, analyzing the landscape. This is a great planet. You realize we've only been able to do that for 100 years. And you get to look down and see what's happening on the surface below you. It's awesome. John Lorenzo Bernini, what does he have to do with geography? Well, first of all, that's his David. And obviously his David is getting ready to kill Goliath. One of the interesting things about what Bernini did there is that's Bernini's face. He carved himself as David. What does that have to do with geography? It's the marble. That is some of the best marble in the world, and it comes out of the southern part of the Alps. In fact, Michelangelo used to go up there and pick marble out and have them drag it down so he could carve things. How is marble formed? Really? Hop on, hop off buses? Please don't live life like that. Paying a bunch of money to get on a bus where they're going to give you a bunch of useless information, and you're going to look at the locals like you're in a zoo looking at the animals. Get out and have an adventure. Get lost in the place you're at. Get lost in life. You can't get found unless you've been lost. Choose your own path. Cut your own pattern. And maybe you'll end up under one of the most beautiful oak trees in the world. Geography. You're nowhere without it. What can you do with it? Well, look at all these public sector jobs. Look at all of those. You tell me another discipline that can give you those, okay? Talk to the other people in our division. They won't have that list. And here's some private sector jobs too if you want to be in the private sector. What classes are offered at Santa Ana College that are related to geography? Here's what they are. World Regional Geography 100, Physical Geography and the Environment 101, Physical Geography and the Environment Lab 101, Cultural Geography 102, Introduction to Weather and Climate 130, California Geography 140, and Introduction to Geographic Information Systems. Come on aboard.